Okay, after making dinner for day one on food storage survival, I decided I am desperate for a sweetie, so I'm going to make chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate is something you cannot reconstitute, so unless you really like cocoa powder and I mean, it's good in brownies and stuff, but chocolate chips I keep in storage because I like chocolate chip cookies a lot. So in an emergency, I do not want to be without the chocolate chips. So we're gonna make them. All food storage I'm going to use in place of butter and shortening. I'm going to use butter flavored shortening. I've used that in other cookie recipes and I think it's good. The difference is that it's going to make the cookies bake flatter. I also am using the powdered eggs, which in the past I had some old powdered eggs. It didn't hold together because the eggs were old. So I'm hoping that these eggs they're newer. They're 2 years old from storage. So I'm going to find out if after 2 years they really work like eggs and hold the cookies together or not. Okay, so I just reconstituted the eggs. 2 tablespoons of the egg mixture to 4 tablespoons of water. Warm water, reconstituted, no problem. But before I put that in, and butter flavored shortening. I bought generic brand to try it out. Thus far, it's worked fine for my bread. Alright, normally I'd say get a spatula or those nifty little shortening measuring cups. But I don't have one here with me. I'm pretty much living extreme survival compared to what I'm used to as far as my kitchen and having all the equipment I need. Alright, so for extreme survival, everything here would work out fine, but you gotta find a source of heat. Baking cookies, I will give that a try for sure because I like cookies so much. When I go extreme survival in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I will definitely bake some cookies out, doing something. So I don't have one of those wonderful brown sugar bears that helps keep the brown sugar from going hard and lumpy and clumpy, but I suggest that. I know you can do bread. You can put a piece of bread on top of your container that has your brown sugar, and it will keep your brown sugar, it'll put in some moisture. But then you have to keep replacing a piece of bread often. And the brown sugar bear, you soak that, put it into your brown sugar. Let it dry first, actually. Dry it off, make sure it doesn't have damp all around, water all around it. And then throw it in to your brown sugar container. And it will keep your brown sugar all moist for weeks. And I'll put the measurements all online. Alright, so I'm mixing in all of the sugar, the eggs, the 2 sugars, the egg, the shortening, and I'll grab my vanilla in just a minute. You know, the one thing about reconstituted eggs, I think they stink so bad. And as I have said, I am pregnant, so smell is a big deal to me. So I got my flour ground. And it doesn't smell like emery board. That's a happy thought, especially for a pregnant woman. I'm gonna do a cup of wheat and a half a cup of white flour. Half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking soda. Stir it in there. So, I know, recipes always say mix in just a half a cup at a time. Well, I'm not using a hand mixer or a stand mixer, so I don't have the worry that it's gonna go flying out everywhere with the speed of the motor. Now, one mistake that I'm not going to make ever again, well, I hope not to, is I love eating cookie dough. And this is 100% safe to eat this cookie dough because it all comes from food storage, so it's all pasteurized and the eggs won't make me sick or anything like that. Not that that matters, I still eat it anyway. But with all of these new flavors coming from the food storage, don't taste test as you're going along the way. I did that with my Sloppy Joe recipe, and I found that by the time I ate dinner, that flavor had evolved from stage 1 of it just being in its container to being reconstituted to having the flavors, and I did not like experimenting and having that evolution of flavors in my memory. So I'm not even going to taste this. It's looking creamed together just like brownie, or just like cookies are supposed to look. So now I'll put my chocolate chips. I normally have a big bag of chocolate chips inside the freezer. It's just the way my mom taught me. If you're the type who buys Ghirardelli or Hershey's or Nestle, that's great. I usually, whenever I see one of the big grocery stores have a sale on them, on the chocolate chips during their baking weeks, they usually will sell well, they did. There were 5 for $5, 5 bags for $5, so $1 each. That's a really good deal. So, you see that deal? Stock up for your food storage. So, there we go. Happiness. If you don't have a cookie dropper, then you're just going to be dropping this by spoonfuls, and that's fine too. Okay, a bad habit, I tasted it. Wow, it's fine, but it is different. We'll see how it tastes when it's cooked up. Okay, apparently today we're going to do dropfuls because I can't find my cookie scooper. So, try to make them even. Just drop them by spoonfuls. The cookies baked up well and they taste pretty good. The shortening made the dough taste awful, but when it's cooked up, it's actually pretty good.